we are starting our lecture. Today's lecture is based on the Faraday law of electromagnetic induction. Simply, what we have discussed up to date, okay, if the charge is moving in a magnetic field, it will experience the force, and that force, if we say that this is the magnetic field, so this is the magnetic field. This magnetic field indicates that the direction of B is inside the pole. This cross shows that the direction of the magnetic field is inside the pole. Similarly, if the charge is moving here, Q is moving with a velocity V in the magnetic field, it will experience the force which is equal to QV cross P. So it means the charge will experience the magnetic force if the charge is in motion. It means if the charge is at rest, the force will be zero. If the charge is moving, force will be experienced by the charge. Okay. Instead of a single charge, if we say that here, if the wire carrying current I is placed in a magnetic field, then again this wire will experience the force, and this force is equal to I L cross P. This is the force which experienced on the wire carrying current I. So these are the when the charges are moving, whether there is a single isolated charge or the charge is moving in the form of current. In both cases, it will experience the magnetic force. So means the magnetic force interact with the moving objects, moving charges. Okay. Similarly, now according to the Ampere's law or Biot-Savart law, if this is the wire carrying current I, so this wire will generate a magnetic field around it. The direction of the current is indicated by this right hand. Grip the wire in the hand, the thumb pointing the direction of the current, and these curved fingers indicates the direction of the magnetic field. So as a result, the magnetic field around this is in the form of the concentric circles here. This is the magnetic field, which is B dot dl. Line integral of the magnetic field are magnetic lines along the closed path, along the line element, along the closed path is equal to mu naught I, or B is equal to mu naught I over 2 pi R. So this is the magnetic field produced by the current carrying wire at a distance R. So it means the current, the flowing charges can produce a magnetic field. Now the very important question is that the current is producing a magnetic field. Is it possible that the magnetic field can produce a current? It means if the wire is placed in a magnetic field, will it produce a current in a wire? So the answer was given by the Faraday. If the rate of change of magnetic flux passes through the wire, then it can generate a EMF or induced current in the wire. The magnitude of the induced current depending upon the rate of change of magnetic flux. For example, let's say here, if we say that Faraday's law here, this says that if we have a coil like that, this is the coil is connected with the voltage potential. If the magnet, this is the magnet whose north pole is this, south pole is this. If the magnetic line of force is passing through the coil, this is the magnetic line of force passing through the coil. So if this magnetic line of force which passes through the coil is changed with the time. It means if the magnet here is at rest, the flux passes through the coil will be uniform flux. Flux is defined as the magnetic line of force passing through a unit area. Magnetic flux, you know that the magnetic flux phi is equal to B dot dA. So this is defined as the magnetic line of force passing through a unit area. So this indicates that if the magnetic line of force passing through a unit area, as a resultant, if the flux is uniform, this uniform magnetic flux cannot produce a EMF in the wire. So this needle will not show any deflection. The current on the galvanometer will be zero. So there will be no EMF if the flux passes through the coil is uniform. So if phi flux, so here if the flux phi is equal to constant, if the flux phi is equal to constant, then the EMF will be equal to 0, is equal to 0. There will be no induced EMF. If the flux phi changes with the time, it means now d phi by dt. How the flux is changed with the time? If we move the magnet towards the coil, stationary coil, or if we move the magnet away from the coil. In both cases, the flux passes through the coil will change with the time. So the moving moving magnet will produce the rate of change of flux passes through the coil will generate an EMF in the coil. So in both cases, either the magnet is moved towards or away from the coil, or the coil is moved towards or away from the magnet. In both cases, the flux passes through the coil will be changed with the time. So this rate of change of magnetic flux will produce a EMF in the coil. This EMF. So this EMF, or you may call it as a EMF, or it is E, is equal to minus d phi over dt. This EMF E is equal to minus n d phi over dt. This n is the number of turns. Here we have a single turn. If we have so many turns like that, this is second coil, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so many turns, then the flux will pass through each turn. So as a resultant, the EMF will produce in each turn. So therefore, the EMF will be equal to N multiplied by the rate of change of magnetic flux passes through it. So this EMF E is equal to this. So the EMF is equal to minus N d phi over dt. Okay. So now here, this negative sign, the negative sign is explained by the Lenz's law. The negative sign is explained by the Lenz's law, because this EMF which is induced in the coil will generate its own magnetic field. So as a resultant, this magnetic field will produce, this current will produce its own magnetic field, and which opposes the cause that is producing it. For example, if you look here, this is the coil here, this is the coil, and this is the magnet, north pole and south pole. The magnetic line of force passes through the coil, passes through the coil. If the magnet is moved in this direction with a velocity v, then the direction of the current in this induced current in this loop can be identified by using right hand. This is the right hand. The direction of the right hand indicates the direction of the rate of change of magnetic flux. So means flux is changing in this direction. Clear? And this thumb indicating the direction of the current. So in this coil, the induced current is this. So the current is moving in this coil is the counterclockwise. It is the anti-clockwise current. Similarly here, if we say that we have a same coil, north pole and south pole, we have a same coil, the magnetic line of force passing through the coil here, but here the motion of the magnet is in this direction. So now in this case, if we look here, in this case the motion is this. So the direction of the right hand indicates the direction of the rate of change of flux. Though the flux in this direction and this thumb indicating the direction of the current. So now the current will be in this direction, and this current is the clockwise current. So the current will flow in the clockwise direction. Here the current flows in the counterclockwise, like that, like that. So this we can determine the direction of the induced current. So this is the way to determine the direction of the induced current. Okay. So now, if we have a two coils like that, here this is the magnet, this is the permanent magnet which produce the EMF. It means here the magnet is moved towards or away from the coil. In both cases, the EMF is produced, which depends upon this thing. Okay. So now, if we look here, if the current is flowing, if we look into this figure, this is the current which is flowing in this direction. This is the direction of the induced current. This is the direction of the induced current. Grip the wire in the hand. This is the wire which is gripped in the hand. The thumb pointing the direction of the current, and these curved fingers indicates the direction of the magnetic flux. And this is the magnetic flux or magnetic field produced by the induced current. So this is the magnetic field direction produced by the induced current. And external magnetic field is this. This is the external magnetic field. This is the magnetic field produced by the induced current according to Ampere's law. So if we look here, both fields are opposite to each other. One, the magnetic field which produces the induced current. So now the induced current produces its own magnetic field which is opposite to the external, which is opposite to the cause that is producing it. So as a resultant, there is a negative sign. It means the induced current is opposes the rate of change of magnetic flux. So here the negative sign indicates that the induced current produces its own magnetic field which opposes the cause that is producing it. So this is what about the Faraday's law. So now again we are discussing instead of this permanent magnet, if we have a two coil, one is called the primary coil and other is called the secondary coil. So now here, if we say that here if we have two coils, one is the primary coil and other is the secondary coil here. This is the coil which is connected to the voltmeter and voltmeter shows zero diffraction. This is the voltmeter. And this is another coil, primary coil, and this is secondary coil. This is primary, this is the secondary coil, which is connected to the battery, AC current, and the magnetic flux passes through this. So these are the two coils here. One is called the primary coil and other is called the secondary coil. The current is flowing, this is the AC current, which is flowing in the primary coil. This current, because AC current will produce a non-uniform magnetic flux. It means this current is changing with the time. This is in the waveform. So it means the flux produce magnetic flux. It means the current is in the waveform. The magnetic flux produced by this current, this AC current, will be non-uniform magnetic flux. So this non-uniform magnetic flux will passes through the secondary coil and induced EMF in the coil. If we have a DC voltage, produce a constant magnetic flux which passes through this secondary coil, will not induce EMF in the coil. Only the AC current will induce EMF in the secondary coil. This is you have to be noted. So it means the constant, if we have a DC source will produce a uniform magnetic flux through it. Because according to Ampere's law, according to Biot-Savart law, when the current passes through it, it produces a magnetic flux. If the current is uniform, magnetic flux is uniform. If current is EC, the magnetic flux will change with the time. So it means rate of change of magnetic flux passes through the secondary coil will produce EMF in the coil. So the EMF in this coil, is equal to minus N d phi over dt. So this is the EMF in the secondary coil. Similarly, the EMF in the secondary coil is depending upon the rate of change of flux. And this rate of change of flux is actually depending upon the rate of change of current. So EMF in the secondary coil is actually depending on the rate of change of current in the primary coil. So here the EMF is actually depending upon the rate of change of current in the primary coil. So this is we call it as a primary coil. This is we call it as a secondary coil, let's say. So this EMF in the secondary is equal to proportionality is replaced by some constant which we call it as a N di over dt. This N is a constant which we call it as a mutual inductance. N is a constant known as mutual inductance. And its unit is Henry. The unit of the mutual inductance is Henry. So here, if we compare both equations here, this is let's say equation number 1, this is equation number 2. Compare equation 1 and 2. So we have minus N d phi over dt is equal to minus N di over dt. Minus minus cancel, d phi over dt cancel. So this will be equal to N phi is equal to N I. So this N is equal to N phi over I. This is the mutual inductance. So now here this mi, this mi is equal to n phi. Phi is the magnetic flux. Phi is the magnetic flux, and this magnetic flux is defined as B dot dA, magnetic line of force passing through a unit area. It means phi is the magnetic flux, which is the magnetic line of force passing through a unit area, and area is the area of this loop. If we say that this is the secondary coil, its area, this is dl1, this is dl2. Clear? So here dl1 is the line element of loop 1 or secondary loop, and dl2 is the line element of the loop 2. So here this ni is equal to n, phi is equal to b dot dA. So this is written in terms of a magnetic field. This equation can be rewritten in terms of the vector potential. This equation can be converted in terms of vector potential. This equation can be converted in terms of vector potential. So now here mi is equal to n, b is equal to curl of a into dA, because b is equal to curl of a. Magnetic field is equal to the curl of vector potential. This what we have discussed in chapter number 5 as well as in chapter number 6. That means the magnetic field is equal to the curl of the vector potential. So I have just converted this b into the curl of a. So now here this equation can be rewritten as, using Stokes theorem, using Stokes theorem here, this can be rewritten as mi is equal to n into integral, this is a dot dl. It means the surface integral is converted into the line integral. The area integral is converted into the length integral by omitting the curl of it. So this is the this equation is obtained by using Stokes theorem. So here this can be rewritten as mi is equal to n into integral. This is the a, and you know that a is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi r d, this is dl2, dl1 upon r into this dl2. This is the this is the a. This what you know, this is the a. The value of vector potential is equal to mu naught I over 4 pi dl1 upon r. So here this is equal to the mi is equal to n. So here this I can be cancelled out on both sides. So this mutual inductance is equal to n mu naught upon 4 pi dl1 dl2 upon r. So here for singleton, for n is equal to 1, अगर हमारे पास एक टर्न है तो द म्यूचुअल इंडक्टेंस m is equal to mu naught over 4 pi dl1 dl2 upon r. This indicates that this equation shows that the mutual inductance depending upon the geometry of the coil. If we look here, this is N, which is called the mutual inductance. Mutual inductance depending upon dl1. dl1 is the length of the element. This integrate over it gives you the total. If you use a double integral here, this integral is the double integral. Here we have a double integral in the closed path. So here this dl1 and dl2 shows that this is dl1, clear? Integral over this gives you the total circumference. This is dl2, integral over this is the total circumference, and this is the r, which is the distance between them. So as a resultant, this indicates that the mutual inductance is the property which depends upon the geometry of the coil. Because this whole thing is a constant, this mu naught upon 4 pi is a constant quantity. It means this dl1, dl2 and distance as a whole we call it as it is a geometry of the coil. So it means the mutual inductance is totally depending upon the geometry of the coil. So as a resultant, this indicates that this shows that the mutual inductance depending on the geometry of coils. Means both coils, primary, secondary. This is the primary and secondary. Depending upon the primary and secondary, both coils. It means it depends upon the geometry of the coil. So now instead of two coils, if we say that we have a single coil like that, here, if we look here, so now instead of both coils, if we have a single coil here, this is the coil and the current is flowing in it, it will generate a magnetic flux through it. If the current is AC current through it and di over dt is flowing through the same coil, produce the EMF in the same coil. And that EMF is opposite to the current, this. Or we call it as a back EMF. It means the EMF which produced in the same coil, because the same magnetic flux is passing through the same coil. Here, this is the coil. So the current, AC current is flowing in the coil. It will produce a magnetic flux, and which magnetic flux passes through the same coil. We don't have a secondary coil. We have only one coil. So here, it passes, magnetic flux passes through the same coil and produce EMF in the same coil. That induced EMF produced by the rate of change of flux is opposite to this cause. So there we can write it here, the EMF, which we call it as a back EMF, is equal to minus n d phi over dt, or EMF is equal to minus L di over dt. So here this L is called the self-inductance because we have only one coil here. So if we have a one coil, this is called the L, and L is known as self-inductance. So here L is the self-inductance. This L is called the self-inductance. So now if we compare these two equations, this is equation 3, let's say this is equation 4, compare these two, then n d phi over dt is equal to L di over dt, minus minus cancel, so n phi is equal to Li. So L is equal to n phi over I. This is again the self-inductance. So again the self-inductance is depending upon the geometry of the coil. So this is known as a self-inductance.